Welcome back to the SPL. Finch and Taco here as we move into the second set of the day in Europe. Going to be looking at Mouse going up against Obey. So this should be a pretty good match. Mouse kind of been on the rise a little bit, but so has Obey, trying to prove they really fit in that top three.
And both of these teams, I think, really having something to prove here. Obey specifically because this is one of those matchups where, on paper, I think that most people would anticipate Obey to be the winners 10 out of 10 times. But looking over at Mouse and that transition that they had with their hunters, Jermaine stepping down, Spudio moving in, I think that they actually looked really good in their last set. So the question is, can they continue to bring that same level of fire to the matchups? Because it's not going to get any easier. If anything, it's going to become even more difficult as the other teams start to become accustomed to Spudio's style of play. I think that's a really big thing, is that some teams might not necessarily want to undermine Mouse at that level after seeing their most recent performance. No,
absolutely not. I mean, this Mouse roster, it really does feel like they're sort of coming into their own. They do have to make some adjustments here now, though. I mean, we heard a little bit, from Jermaine when he was, kind of talking on social media about how he felt like they'd been grinding so much, but maybe he wasn't quite there. We'll see if maybe they can get that done with Spudio in the reins with them now. And Obey is a great test for them. Obey can be a top team, a top two team easily on a good day, but on a bad day, they can be a middle of the pack team. So maybe Mouse can show us here if they can remain consistent and try and pass them.
But consistency is the big thing, too, that we're also looking for from Obey.
That's right, from both these teams.
They fell against Rival in that 2-wood fashion, and I think that was a pretty solid set. But I think the big thing also is that I don't think we've seen everything from Obey just yet. It's evident that they've definitely made some improvements since that spring split coming over into the summer, but the question is, can they continue to maintain that and improve off of it still, or is this just the peak Obey that we're left with?
Well, this is the time, because Rival's slipping just a little bit. I think they're 3-2 right now, and Obey have a chance to at least get up there and match that record and try and stay close with them moving into the second half, because this is it. This is week 3. We're just about to end in that second half, then in the first half, move into the second half, and Obey want to be moving into that second half strong, and you can see those familiar faces there. Tons of talent on this Obey roster. They just need a little bit more to get it together here in a tough EU region.
All eyes, really, I think, on PrettyPriMe and CaptainTwig for this one.
Yeah, he's mean-mugging, isn't he?
Those are the two that I think are really going to have to come together and make sure that they are 100% on point. Mousesports team right now feels a little bit more like the level is definitely there, and they can match that of Obey, but Obey's experience is probably what's going to be the big thing to give them an edge.
That's what we'll have to see here, is if Obey can use that experience to get them a little bit further out in front of Mouse. And I think that this matchup here, and I'm glad that's why we're highlighting Ataraxia, is going to be important. You never really considered Ataraxia a lane bully, but here up against Spudio, I mean, he kind of has a chance to flex a little bit. Is Ataraxia, I mean, do you see them picking something more aggressive for him, trying to give him a chance maybe to flex a little bit here in this lane? I
definitely want to see Ataraxia on a very aggressive pick. I think that he did a great job with the Neath debut, and I actually really like that, because Neath is not an easy guy to make work from the hunter position.
No, not at all.
The fact that he was able to watch his positioning well enough just leads me to believe that giving Ataraxia an even more aggressive hunter that he can really just look to abuse Spudio through the early game, it could be crucial here.
Well, let's see if that is what they prioritize, Taco. Picks and bans are ready for game 1, so I'll hold them away from you for no longer. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Mouse and Obey are going to prioritize here heading into the set. And Mouse are going to be that first pick selection, so they have the option to maybe try and leave some priority picks available. The Athenas, the Xibalankes, the Thos, the Raz. The picks have been very much prioritized lately. We'll see if Mouse want to grab them for themselves.
One thing's for sure, though. Nobody wants to deal with Guan Yu, and Obey do not want to deal with that Athena for good reason, taking away some of the sustain. And then you've got Obey responding with the removal of a large global presence.
And Cherryo and Mouse make that worse, don't they? Like, everyone already wants to play Athena, but it's even worse in this comp, so take it away from their hands. Make sure they can't have that powerful pick. Meanwhile, Mouse are going to ban the Thoth, and Obey are actually going to ban the Cerberus. A little bit surprised by this one. It's not always one that's top priority, but this helps leave some strong picks available for them too.
In general, banning 2 Guardians at the very start is not really a theme that we see happening too often in competitive play, but I think against Mouse specifically, it's just something you have to do. Otherwise, this team's going to run rampant with their double, triple Guardian compositions, and probably one of the only teams that's had a large amount of success with those heavy frontline comps.
Well, they're going to prioritize a hunter very early on. Perhaps they're trying to make sure Spudio's feeling comfortable on this Artemis pick. This also is a very good hunter in the 3 Protect 2 comp, the triple Guardian comp they like to run, because Artemis is so strong late if she can be protected and get all that damage off. So I think this is a very Mouse first pick.
Gotta be loving that Habois Terra response, though.
Pretty
Terra
scary.
got a lot of setup for the Habois even. I mean, you've got the root, you have a stun that can be easily applied, and the Earthen Fury is really what I want to keep an eye out here for, because Mouse need heavy peel. Earthen Fury on top of Habois' damage.
It's a lot. That's a lot of burst all at once, and they're going to be able to make sure they take you down in those fights while also protecting her own backline. Earthen Fury is pretty good. Pretty good ability for Terra, as Discordia and Sobek going to be the next 2 picks for Mouse. I love this pick. Discordia very strong in the mid lane, can provide some extra control if she can get good strifes off and tons of damage. And then Sobek, a great disruptor in his own right. Top.
I love this Neath pickup, though, and I'm definitely hoping that it is going to be a Neath for Ataraxia. I don't believe that Obey have their mid laner locked in just yet. I'm not expecting this to be Habois PrettyPriMe, but there is some possibility for that, although I feel as though Habois in the jungle would certainly probably perform just a little bit better, but mostly I'm looking towards his Neath because you have that World Weaver. World Weaver on top of Terra's Earthen Fury and her root is just going to spell absolute catastrophe for Mouse if they are not careful with avoiding getting picked out.
Plus, there's so many good mages left, too. I would want Prime on one of those. I mean, you still have Agni, Giannis, still have Raijin available, which Prime likes to play as well. But it looks like the ROM is coming in, so perhaps they are going with that double hunter here. And maybe there's going to be Neath in the mid lane. Probably Neath the better mid lane hunter of those two.
Neath definitely going to be the better mid lane here, also going to be the hunter that I expect to play. But this is kind of the same issue that we had with Obey earlier on in that set against a rival. It's not that you think that PrettyPriMe isn't capable of playing gods like Neath. It's just that he is so phenomenal on the mages. It's kind of absurd.
He really is so strong on some of these mage picks, but I trust Prime to be able to play these picks at a very high level as well. As Ardio Mercury are going to come in for Mouse, a very high-pressure assassin that they're going to be giving over to Cherryo potentially. I mean, you never really know with a Mouse draft, but you kind of want to hope that that's going to be in the jungle. Meanwhile, Achilles comes in, getting a last pick Achilles for Xaliea. That's pretty good. That's
a pretty good spot to be in when you can last pick an Achilles, but I also really like Mouse's team composition. I think that this is a very well-refined comp because you've got the front line that you'd want between the Sobek and the Ardia. The Kerpo Field's going to be crucial in terms of keeping Neath and Rom out of position. Also prevents a lot of the dashing capabilities from Terra.
Well, let's see which one of these teams is able to do the best here. Taka, before I let you go, though, I know you said you're leaning towards Mouse's draft. Does that mean you're going to pick Mouse here against Obey in Game 1?
I think that Obey are still too experienced of a team to where they shouldn't lose this Game 1, but I really like Mouse's draft.
All right, well, we're leaning a little bit towards Mouse in terms of picks and Obey in terms of experience. Let's see which one wins out in action as we give it over to the casters.
Thanks a lot, friends. Tom and Toli here, going to bring you the business for this game number 1. Also game number 2. And maybe game number 3 if we see one. But Obey versus Mouse is going to be interesting. I've been waiting to see if anybody's going to fall victim to the Mouse trap now that they've got a new hunter along the lines. Jermaine out, and so Spudio in. I'm not saying Spudio, is the next coming. I'm not saying that Spudio is going to be your MVP hunter, but I think holistically this team needed a more engaged individual.
I think that he provided a lot to the team in terms of aggression, but maybe that's not all that they need. That was their true identity in Season 4.
Sure.
But now in Season 5, healing meta, a little bit of a slower paced game. This could be them refining themselves.
Let us know who you think is going to win out there in Mixer chat. I expect to see a lot of Obey fans out there. That's kind of standard, par for the course. Mouse have to prove themselves, and I'm along there with you. Mouse have been very close.
So close.
Is this the set? Who knows? Right now, let's get into it. Game number 1 coming at you live, and what I'm excited about, more Hebo. CaptainTwig in the jungle on the Hebo. Very excited about that. Xaliea on the Terra. Very excited about that. iRaffer on the Achilles. Last pick. Very excited about that. PrettyPriMe on the Neath.
Not too excited about that one.
Not too excited about that one. Neath is actually one of my preferred mid laners. I think she brings a lot to the game. But at the end of the day, one of the beautiful things about competitive Smite is the human element. And I think that PrettyPriMe is just a better mage player. He's one of the best mage players on the block. let him play the damn mages. I get that you want to play the Hebo jungle. That's fine.
Yep.
Just, I would like to see him just play a traditional mage.
It's just a synergy. Normally, a lot of junglers set up their mid laners in the early game, but this time around, it's going to be PrettyPriMe looking for those World Weavers to wherever CaptainTwig elects to go, especially when there might be counter aggression on him. We saw how Energy was able to adapt to SK's aggression in the last set by defending their own buffs. It's a lot easier to defend your own buffs when you have a World Weaver.
About a quarter of the folks at home think that Mouse will be able to topple the top card. That is the Obey Alliance. Pluck going to be beads away there. Dardez unsuccessful. And Dardez, for the first time in 5 years, he said, laning with somebody different. That's got to be a crazy, crazy feeling.
Yeah, it definitely has been. But so far, so good. I think that the strategy from Mouse is to make sure that Spudio is going to be as comfortable as possible. They first picked his Artemis, making sure that he knows the insides and outs of this characters. And then very quickly did they pick the Sobek immediately after the first pick, making sure that they have that aggressive lane.
Ooh, Spudio, welcome back, baby. Not his Pro League debut, but certainly still wet behind the ears and letting people know that he might be a babby, but he's still ready to go for it.
This is the thing. You force the early beads out of Ataraxia. You go for round 2. I'm surprised that he even put himself in that position to begin with. And with Rom and Achilles, looking for a lot of 2 different things, because Rom is able to clear the way very effectively with the Astral Arrows. All 5 of them hits. And then iRaffer kind of blows people up with the Achilles. But only sitting at level 2, you don't really have that many items available, so you're not looking for the kills quite yet.
Yeah, iRaffer, definitely the aggressive support style. Going to be looking to clean kills up, letting his teammates do the majority of the damage and then switch targets once they're in execute range. I think the best performance we've seen on the support Achilles so far has actually come from the Global Series. P-Bay playing for Black Dragons got himself basically a pentakill, missed it, so it's a quadra. But, I mean, not even just celebrating the pentakill. The entirety of that game, Toli, was largely, look, when your teammates only have to do, what, 75% damage, and then you just push the button and finish them off, that's a beautiful luxury when played correctly. So I like to see iRaffer doing this as well. I think it fits into his style. Little bit of historic fun fact. The first god iRaffer played in the support position, Thor.
Yeah, I believe it.
The second
he
god?
used to be a jungler.
Yeah, he started as a jungler. PrettyPriMe in trouble. Wishes he had his jungler. And that's an easy kill for Cherryo. Number 2 for Mouse. And finishing up that anecdote. Game 1 was Thor. Game 2 was Thanatos support. He was a jungler once upon a time and tried to make that happen. Spoiler alert, it didn't work.
Well, still got him 2 championships throughout once he was transitioning eventually to it. So he learned it. You know, it might have took a little bit of time. I like this counter matchup. Nika able to stop the dash.
Oh, ultimate lined up and iRaffer lined down. Spudio with another kill right now. And Cherryo, I was going to comment on this selection in general, or I was going to comment on this selection specifically with respect to the enemy jungler. But in general, it looks like Merc is just crushing it.
Merc is just working for almost every team in Season 5. Summer split thus far that's been willing to experiment with it. PrettyPriMe earlier couldn't survive that initial gank. I believe he used his backflip already. And unfortunate thing about the Unravel for Neath is that it takes about 1.2 seconds to get off, so you can easily get disrupted. And that's what happened with the Mercury dash. He tried to get it off, gets canceled, tries to get it off again for the heal for maybe absorbing 1 or 2 basic attacks, but not able to do so. It takes too much time. And I like, now that I think about it, there is the pros and the cons of this ability. And the pros for PrettyPriMe is reducing the attack speed of the opposition. Late game Spudio and Cherryo playing this Artemis-Mercury combination, you really want to make sure you mitigate some of that attack speed.
Very true. Unravel, one of the better anti-attack speed debuffs in the game. In fact, one of the few anti-attack speed debuffs in the game. You've got Unravel, you've got Odin Cage.
There's also the Kumbhakarna Mez, if you break that early. Vaman Umbrella Ring. I know that the Shock Rain brought it back.
And that's it. That is the entire list of character abilities.
There might be more.
No, that's it. It's the entire list of character abilities. You've got some items, like Witchblade.
Sure.
But that's the entire list of character abilities. And I think as far as, like, you know, prevalence, Odin Ring is nice, but you're not really using it for the anti-attack speed. When you talk about that, you're really looking at the Kumbhakarna, the Neath, right? I mean, even the Umbrella rank can be a little bit rough to continuously apply. Cherryo threatening with the ultimate. Not going to be the case. BigManTingz just dancing around here. On the Discordia. Discordia is an interesting selection as well, Tilly. I was talking about this with Ryan today as we did our minor league broadcast. Dardez being Dardez. Discordia, when she first came out, was top pick, top ban, and seemingly for no reason, she kind of went in and outside of the meta. And here of late, everybody seems to be picking Discordia.
There's just a lot of aggression in the early game, and you want to give a boost of power, whether it's physical or magical, to whoever's being aggressive. Normally, it's your side laners. Normally, it's the hunters or the soul laners, but not going to be the soul lane this game where it's Xaliea versus Nika, Guardian versus Guardian. Nika could be looking for that damage. Actually is, because he's playing Ardio, which is basically a magical version of a warrior that likes to spam abilities and look for the poke while being able to get the sustain.
I agree.
And by being level 7, you're looking at an additional 19 magical power difference between Xaliea and Nika.
You know, it's funny. I feel like Ardio feels like a Guardian, but definitely is on the warrior side. I look at Guardians like Kabrakan and Ymir that are the magical warriors, if you will. Whereas Nika on the Ardio, I'm with you. She definitely feels like a warrior, but there are so many Guardian elements in what she does. I think she's such a unique character because she brings it. She is a true hybrid, I feel, in between. Whereas Kabrakan might as well just be a magical warrior.
I mean, he's considered the fat Loki of all time. And honestly, the Ardio can mix it up with the best of them. iRaffer gets caught in the strike, forced to use the Fatal Strike defensively underneath the Gold Fury. The apple bouncing around, but iRaffer's not hungry for it.
I like that shot coming out from BigManTingz, trying to use the ricochet effectively. Cherryo gets his beads chased out, and he'll be able to find the exit himself.
Okay, I thought he was going to go behind the tier 1 tower to look for the ultimate defensively. Twig going to get plucked into the clutches from Spudio. Good counter ultimate from the Artemis ult.
And meanwhile, Rom takes to the sky, looking to cut down Cherryo. Won't be able to find it, though. And now Cherryo threatening. I like this choice. He comes into his basement, and he says, look, if you're going to come down here with us, I'm good. Then it's a problem. Just preps the ultimate. Everybody knows and says, you can't fight us in our jungle. The threat of activation is something I speak a lot about. And that right there, Mercury has a really big boon there because he like Thoth, can wind up and just say, this is what I'm doing if you decide to go for it.
Yeah, charging the Hadouken, that's basically what it is. You see that glimmering star in the distance, and then you know something's about to pop off at any second. So respecting that fact, Twig without his ultimate, not wanting to tussle around with that. So going to back on out for the moment, trying to finish off that Bancroft's Talon. And that's going to be a huge boost of magical power, going from 60 to 100 between the Talon's Trinket into Bancroft's.
CaptainTwig on the Hebo jungle, something we've seen a lot of today specifically. He's been, I think, an average selection for much of the Pro League here in the summertime. Cubo Fred has gone back to it time and time again, but other players just have it in their arsenal. And I have maintained for a long time now that Hebo is just another jungler. He should be in your Assassin God pool if you're a jungler. He's magical. It allows you to have some flexibility in that world. But one of the answers to him, I think, is Mercury, because you can just one-shot the guy.
It's very true, but he can also one-shot you if you're not careful.
Yes.
One knock-up, late game, all of a sudden you're getting Water Cannon, Crushing Wave, whatever the case may be. But look at the difference of the mid-levels. BigManTingz versus PrettyPriMe. That one death from PrettyPriMe set him back 2 levels and different styles of builds, going for more physical power out of PrettyPriMe. Also grants him that 10% cooldown reduction, but ignoring the early blessing to rush this gives BigManTingz even more cooldown reduction between that Mage's Blessing and the Chronos Pendant.
Right, about 30 plus with the Chronos Pendant, right? Where just 10 across the way for PrettyPriMe. So with that in mind, I mean, Prime could use some extra cooldown reduction. We're likely to see a Jotun's Wrath come out at some point. Mouse looking for a gank on the middle lane, but it's spotted out by CaptainTwig. He's careful there. I think Twig could have punished, but then likely would have been punished back. So got to be careful on that one.
Cherryo doing a good job of winning the action while his beads were still not available to him. Just now coming back up, he can go in and look for these neutral camps, such as the Oracles, maybe make his presence felt around the right side mid-harpies that's due to respawn. calling out where the Hobwa was with that blue-ping Mousesports transcending towards the right side, charging up the ultimate because Nika right there and spots out the backflip.
Yep, that'll be good. That's the full disengage. Left side, Mouse still looking for more. Enemy red buff not there, so they won't be able to go for the invade.
No, looking for more. That was the Season 3 team before Sweden DreamHack, which transitioned into a different roster, which was...
so I like that.
That one.
So
okay.
I think what you're doing is cute. And I'm sure you and the other co-commentators have traded notes because people have been doing this to me all week. But I would be remiss if I did not mention how wrong you were. They were called Hungry for More, and I called them Hungry for losses
some reason,
because they lost for the entire split.
Did you not say Hungry for More?
I said looking for more, and you repeated me. Don't hide behind this, Toli. You were wrong. Own that you were wrong. Hungry for More was the team that Obey Alliance started as. And Nika could be food for them. Nice ultimate coming out from CaptainTwig, but is it enough? This Nika is so tanky on the audio selection, but the water hands will do it.
Not enough. The healing is good, but just not enough health to really absorb all that damage. You have a little bit from the Void Stone, but even this early game protection, not enough. As Cherryo is able to pull iRaffer back, and Fatal Strike gets him away.
For now. Major Look will be up. Major Look will be up right now. And there he goes. Raffer falls down. No big deal. But Raffer traded his life for good. Mousesports did the classic. This is how you play Smite. This is 101. When there's a gank on the solo side, CaptainTwig in trouble.
Look at that damage, Cherryo trying to run away, but Xaliea stopping that one in his tracks. Dardez will get the jungler for junglers. Twig was without the crushing wave, so that's going to be a clean trade.
And now both junglers have their 2 items, which both junglers get really scary at this point. It's actually very interesting the way Merc and Hebo work. Both with 2 items, right, is the beginning of, oh no, I'm really going to get hurt. But then Merc gets very scary once he builds into the crit, and Hebo gets very scary once he builds into sure penetration, but I'm looking at the Soul Reaver, right? And so both these characters have like multiple levels where you're afraid of level 1, sure, and then you're chilling. And then they reach this point of Bancroft or Stoner Sword, and you're like, uh-oh, watch out. And then they reach that 3rd level where it's just, if they look at me, I'm probably dead. Like it's that old, like it's an old-fashioned situation.
Sure. So. But looking at more of these builds, it's the Rod of Healing from CaptainTwig. We saw it before, actually, I believe it was yesterday in the North American side of things, where it's left at tier 2 specifically because of its cost effectiveness. At 1,500 gold, you're getting about 45 power, 150 health, and more importantly, that 7% movement speed. And as a Hobwa assassin jungler, that extra movement speed goes a long way.
I love this bridge item. It is so much fun. BigManTingz intercepts the ultimate on accident.
That actually hurt him a little bit because that set up the water sprout from CaptainTwig through the wall.
Cherryo did not mean to do that. Well, sometimes you do mean to do that to your teammate. Usually when they're tanky, not when they're your mid lane mage. Cherryo, they're unfortunately setting BigManTingz up for the eventual back.
Now, we're speaking about tier 2 items for CaptainTwig with the Rod of Healing, but look at what PrettyPriMe is doing. He's going for the Bound Gauntlet. Now, I'm not sure if he's actually transitioning into the Soul Eater.
I would expect it.
But if you don't, leaving this item left alone, 1,050 gold for 15 power, 75 mana, and 10% lifesteal. Not a bad investment for 1,050 gold, but it actually will be completed instantly. With a little bit of buff changes, you're getting that extra physical power, granting you 60 physical power after about 75 stacks.
And this has just been a strong item for ability-based hunters for a while now, and we recently saw Ataraxia experiment with it. Half HP on the Gold Fury. Obey trying to get their nose in here, and Cherryo going to transition over there. Ultimately dropping the objective. Cherryo cancels the ult, and this one will go the way of Mouse, unless Raffer gets his nose in there. Nope, not going to be the case. Full retreat again.
This Gold Fury was sitting at about 10 to 20% health until finally Mousesports was like, all right, you got us. We're not actually going to commit to this. We're a little bit afraid of all the burst damage because CaptainTwig making it happen against Nika.
The ultimate just barely clips the bear and he goes down. CaptainTwig looking good here. Cherryo in trouble. Major Look and avoids the stars. BigManTingz cuts down the enemy jungle. And Xaliea stuck in dirty traps. Unruly magic. not find the kill.
So much CC and disruption onto Xaliea, but boy, is he thinking his lucky stars to get out of that one. Cherryo looking for the speed buff invade, but PrettyPriMe sniffs it out, looking to disrupt the Mercury.
That was cute. You just watched Dardez try to pluck a clearly CC immune character. I don't know what that
I think
was
they did it
about.
at the very same time. That must have been what it was. Sometimes it just happens.
I see you. I see you. I see you. You made a mistake earlier, so now you're trying to like make
It just happens what it is. They don't know what it'd be like, but it do.
the defender. And
I don't know. I had a complete brain switch. I mean, looking for more, hungry for more. I mean, come on. You can say the same.
I'm only making fun of you because you were coming at me. That's the only reason. If that was an innocuous comment, we would not even be having this conversation.
You should have said hungry for more to make my statement better.
No, that's not how
You got to
this
be next level, Tom. I'm expecting you to read my mind at this point. We've been casting long enough. Set me up for these things so I can knock them down.
I do occasionally, but sometimes you knock yourself down, Tolfred. And that's where we're at right now.
And that's where you pick me up, not knock me more down.
Well, listen, I get knocked down, but I just get up again. You, specifically, are never going to keep me down. Gold Fury, half HP. Obey Alliance one more time, keeps the enemy off of the gold. You all right there, Tully?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. The pluck off the mark. PrettyPriMe, well calculated, with a little bit of a swag flip. Trying to make something happen in the dual lane as Ataraxia gets bullied out. And that's been the reoccurring theme this game. After that early first blood with Ataraxia, using his beads at level 2, dying immediately in the next wave, he's just been quietly farming away, giving Spudio just a lot of room to do Artemis things.
Gold Fury being aggressed on. Mercury does so much damage to these objectives. His natural built-in steroid, just from having extra power because of his passive, right?
Yep.
And then of course the steroid on his number 2, maximum velocity. That's 70% attack speed
At max rank. It's a lot.
and it passively gives him power. Now you're looking at me and saying, Tom, you can't read that said attack speed or that said movement speed.
But it's the passive where you synergize with the movement speed because you're getting about an additional 25% of your movement speed for physical power.
Here,
Yes.
gotta go fast.
Very fast. Maximum velocity.
There it is. I mean,
Is there even such a thing for Mercury?
maximum velocity?
That's
I mean,
his second ability name.
yeah.
You would think that the fastest god alive has no limit. So why is there even a maximum?
So this is interesting. The observer pointed out that that first stat in your box of 6, the fist. So Mercury actually, he has a passive meter that for as far as he walks around, sort of like a pedometer, he will actually, his next basic is going to truck you. So you get all this extra power for one basic. That's why, we joke around and call him the man with one punch, because he just comes through and that made you look, that hit. As soon as he hits somebody, you'll see that number go down. That's the basic attack meter. So his first shot's really high, and you see how it goes back down to 252. That's how you get bursted really hard by the Merc.
Trying to run away after sneaking the Gold Fury. Mousesports will walk away like bandits. Obey Alliance just dropping the ball on that one. And against a Mercury, you have about a 5-second window or less.
If that, yeah.
To be able to snatch that one away. So Mousesports, great risk, high reward.
I love the play from Mousesports. That was about the 5th or 6th time.
Yeah.
If at first you don't succeed, try again, right?
They
Mid
did
lane,
that.
Ataraxia getting wrapped up here by the Cherryo. In trouble for CaptainTwig, but a great strife from BigManTingz sets everything else up. CaptainTwig.
Forced to ultimate away defensively, but with Spudio not invested in this team fight, the continued action in the mid lane. Earth and Fury was used by Xaliea, but still, Obey Alliance backing off and not abusing the 5-on-4. Teleporting on the left is going to be Xaliea.
Wonderful play there coming out from Mousesports entirely. Not just Spudio with the split push, but Mousesports taking the right type of fight. They go for the gold, and they know that's going to bait a team fight, so they move away from their hunter, who's going to be doing split push. That where Mouse ran to was not a mistake. They ran specifically in the opposite direction of the Artemis, and that was a team call to do both at the same time. Really smooth stuff. I like that.
Speaking of smooth, Ataraxia not using his beads during the Mercury Dash or even during the two-man strike from BigManTingz. Cool as a cucumber, not collapsing under the pressure, recognizing there wasn't much continued follow-up, so he has it now for the potential Fire Giant if Mousesports are feeling frisky, because they're just getting each objective that they really want between Gold Fury and Pyro.
Listen, Totally, for a while watching this Mousesports team, I think a lot of fans, you know, even last year, right? You sit there and you go, they do kind of nice things. It's fun to watch. Cherryo's kind of weird. That's neat. I'll watch it, no problem. Well, now here with Mousesports, with BigManTingz in the middle specifically, because Dardez has always stuck out to me as a guy, right? BigManTingz and Dardez, I was watching them in the spring split and the beginning of the summer split totally, and they were one piece away from the puzzle. And it pains me to say that Jermaine might have been the problem. As they excise him and get Spudio, it just seems that the team is more put together. And Spudio's doing a great job, but I don't think it has to do with Spudio coming in and being an all-star player. I think it just has to do with all 5 players at the same time feeding into the same system and understanding what's going on here.
Well, we'll see how the action continues, because this is only week 3 of the summer split of the SPL. Still a lot more action going forward. Nika taking barely any damage, actually, this time against CaptainTwig's ultimate, having way more defenses with his level 18 Artio, trying to find some sustain off of iRaffer. Gold Fury not due to respawn for another 2 minutes, and this is the plan from Mousesports. Bully Obey Alliance with long-range poke from BigManTingz.
Yeah, BigManTingz certainly has that capacity. He's going to continue to do such. Cherryo right now, split pushing on the left-hand side. Teleport should still be down, and it is for Xaliea. If Cherryo wanted to full commit to that tower, he likely would have taken it, but hears about the rotation from his friends in mid lane, and so he will X back a little bit.
Gonna run away. He doesn't also want to get randomly Neath ultimate to pop the Mad Guy's cloak, so he's gonna keep his distance away. If they could force a team fight and have him clean up with the Sonic Boon, not a bad idea. It's a game of inches in Smite Pro League, and Mousesports trying to pull Obey Alliance from some of their tier 1 towers, or at least overcommit to the tier 1 so that Cherryo could go for round 2.
And here he is.
This is gone.
Yeah, this is an easy tower. Look at that one. 70% attack speed on maximum velocity, remember. Uses the Magi's cloak to get rid of the stun from Neath and able to just walk away, no problem. Mouse now grouping up here towards the middle lane. A little bit spread, and Obey could take advantage of this if they choose to.
Backflip down for a couple more seconds. Stunned out iRaffer, trying to make it happen with the damage from Nika, the control and the roots there, but no follow-up. Cherryo doesn't want to be a part of this. He wants to play cleanup crew, not the main engager.
Not at all. Obey Alliance now down 3 kills. Obey Alliance now down 7,000 gold. And iRaffer down for 35 seconds. Wonderful play by Dardez, just heads up awareness. Xalia's gonna be next. The Doubleune for the Hunter, but CaptainTwig comes through like a bat out of hell and takes care of BigManTingz.
Up in the sky, Ataraxia looking for the snipes, but no one is low enough to find the kill. Running away from Spudio, the damage is just too strong. Spudio gets another one that chases on for PrettyPriMe.
I love watching Dardez. Prime probably doesn't. Spudio with the unofficial quadra kill coming through. 2 separate dubs. And that's going to lead Mousesports right over to the Fire Giant. And totally, this is what I mean. This is just, it is a more cohesive unit. This team looks like they are finally all on the same page. And I have said it till I was blue in the face. Dardez is a top caliber support player. He comes out here with the mentality, the instincts, and I like that he plays the jank.
Look what they're doing. They're waiting for BigManTingz to respawn. Perfect teamwork.
Yeah, it's a good call. Just standard Smite. Everybody gets the Fire Giant. I like that Dardez plays the jank totally, not because I think it's fun to watch Agni support, but because it shows me his thought process. I used to teach kids, right? And you could just show me the answer, and that's all well and good. But when your teacher's sitting there saying, show me your work, it's not because we want you to prove that you did it the way I taught you. It's because we want to see the gears working in your mind. I want to see how you connect A to B to C. And when I watch Dardez play the weird stuff, it's because he's trying to fill holes in the composition. He looks at it and goes, we're lacking long-range initiation, we're lacking some crowd control. I can play an Agni, no problem.
Sure.
And
or Nox.
Yeah, or Nox. And that choice isn't always great. And the choice doesn't always win. But he's got the mentality.
Sure.
And now once you have everybody feeding into the same system, everybody thinking about the game in the same sort of consistency level. Basically what I'm saying is Spudio is more present than Jermaine. And I think that's a big part of why this team is succeeding right now. The game's not over, and it's just a single game. But I think this is a great look for Mouse going forward because people are finally, I don't know if it's listening to Dardez or just joining him at the table, but everybody seems to be on the same page for the first time, and I'm very excited because this is a roster rife with talent.
Well, we'll see if it's a revigorated kind of squad. When they play something more standard, it's looking like it's working out, but is this a true test against them? Obey Alliance playing a composition such as this. Xaliea known to play the Terra, but in the solo lane, without having the global presence, what impact are you really making in the early game? The blue buff doesn't really matter between the two players anyway, so you're relying on more pressure in the mid and the hunter position. But when Ataraxia fell this early in the game, having a Rama, which doesn't do much in the early game, you're looking at really what Dardez and Spudio was bringing to the table, and that just allowed Dardez to make the plays happen. Ataraxia disconnected from the aggressive support that he has between the Achilles, and PrettyPriMe playing a very passive Neep. He's basically playing setup man for CaptainTwig.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about the fact that Obey might not be on their best foot.
Yeah, not this game.
I complained about, or just, I mean, with their composition. I complained about PrettyPriMe not playing the mage. So I think this is, sure, you're not going up against Tier 1 Obey. But I view Obey as a Tier 1 team, and I think that this is definitely a real test for Mouse. Should they win this and go on to game 2, I want to see Obey play Zeus mid, or something that they are known for, and really see the true test. But nobody expects this level of dominance out of Mouse, whether or not you're playing your best or not.
Sure.
So that's what I'm big picture excited about. Zooming in, I realize this. It ain't over till the Bacchus sings.
Bacchus isn't in this game, so I don't think that's going to be singing much longer. Mousesports with a very convincing 15,000 gold lead, 27.5 minutes in. Xaliea looking for the root, just going to knock up Dardez casually because Cherryo is the one split pushing, using that Sonic Boom whenever he wants to cross the lanes.
Waiting for their moment of opportunity is Mouse. Nika getting knocked up. CaptainTwig gets his beads.
Good
Dardez.
stun.
There it is. Nice, nice, nice.
And that's going to allow BigManTingz to look for it, as will Cherryo with a Sonic Boom in the backline. BigManTingz going to get stunned out, forcing Xaliea back. Apple going to be off the mark.
Nice juke coming out from Xaliea. Definitely could have turned around and taken that apple in the brain, but decided to move out of the way. Excellent defensive stop from Obey Alliance. I needed more follow-up after Cherryo gets the wonderful ultimate, isolates the jungle Hebo. But no follow-up from Mouse. That was an issue. I look towards BigManTingz in that moment. I think he needs to step up and be a little bit more aggressive. But at the end of the day, not being in the communications, not being in comms with these teams, I can't point a finger. Because it might just be, junglers do this. Cherryo might just have went for it.
Yep.
And nobody was ready.
He's like concentrating so hard to hit a Sonic Boom that you're like saying like, okay, I'm aiming it, but you're not going to say when you're going to do it because there's literally a split-second reaction. So as you click it, that's when you're saying I'm going in. So the travel time of the words coming out of your mouth to your microphone to go into them versus reacting to it might not have been most optimal for BigManTingz for that extra damage onto Twig because his beads were down. He was guaranteed dead if there was any more damage, but he was just too far north for anyone else to follow the long-distance Sonic Boom from Cherryo.
And for me, that's, I mean, you know, Mouse haven't won this game yet, and I've been singing their praises in general. But these are the little things that will prevent them from finding this win if they do lose this game, right? These are the things that have to come next. For me, and I guess I have to frame my commentary because I've been I'm just very happy to see a low-end team stop looking like a low-end team, right? But make no mistakes, this is step one.
Yep.
Right? I mean, this is, if you're cooking a world-class team right here, Mousesports finally got the car to the driveway and they're shopping right now. I'm not saying that, it's time to watch it cool and settle. I'm saying, like, we haven't even gotten to the point halfway through. So Mouse still have plenty to learn, but I'm seeing plenty of signs right now that I would not be surprised should Mouse close this one out to dominate game 2 as well. I would not be surprised to see them continue this week and do well. This is a team that definitely is making moves. I'm just so excited.
They're following all the right steps in the checklist to close out this game. Getting the second Fire Giant, the enhanced one. I think that with a late game Mercury and Artemis combination, it's so tricky for Obey Alliance to play around those two gods. They both do such high burst amount of damage so quickly. And yet again, a lot of teams not making the necessary adjustments against these late game hyper carries with the anti-attack speed. No Witchblade, no Guardian Mail, no anti-crit from Obey Alliance. Funny to see the Spectral armor out of Dardez instead of Obey Alliance.
I do love the Emperor's armor from iRaffer. This is an item that he stands by. Virtually no other players buy it these days, but I love it, specifically when you're playing defense. I mean, you're looking at a 40% attack speed increase for your Phoenix. That is such a big deal, especially when you consider that subsequent Phoenix hits do more damage.
Well, the question is, how fast can Mousesports take that one away before it even matters? Raffer's life is basically eliminated, and there goes that 40% attack speed Phoenix.
There goes that Emperor's armor. Thanks, buddy.
That's what happens when you're going to try to pluck it. Cherryo clips the wall.
That was bad news bears. But BigManTingz gets CaptainTwig even without help from his jungler. 3-1-4 for the Discordia player. And he's looking clean here, Toli. Continuing the team fight is Mouse. Left side Phoenix goes down. Xaliea, 2 players grouped up. There it is. Wonderful play, lining up his Hunter. That's going to be game number 1. Obey Alliance falling down. And Mouse taking this one hot.
BigManTingz doing a lot of work. Spudio 8-0-4 Artemis, really showing what he's capable of if given the opportunity. That first blood being set up from Dardez helped this late game Artemis get to the late game.
Again, I can't say it enough. I mean, I'm going to ask you who the MVP is later, but right now this is a unit. This is a team. This is team play.
Yep.
I mean, you saw Mercury do his job. You saw the mid lane do his job. Everybody just rose to the occasion and played good team Smite. And honestly, that's some of my favorite Smite to watch is when all 5 players are just coming together Voltron style.
They were able to make the plays happen in the front line, and the back line didn't really matter. I think that you could look at every single player doing some key moments of the game, but I think overall it should go to Spudio. He was feeling very confident. He was able, whoever was making those Goal Fury calls to juggle the aggro consistently back and forth is what kind of confused Obey Alliance at times, because they were overextending at times and allowed this 16-4 end score.
Let us know who you think won the MVP there in chat. Toli says Spudio. And ultimately, I mean, what was that? The 2 separate double kills that led to the Fire Giant?
Yes. That was good stuff. The Artemis was just everywhere she needed to be, and she never died.
Yep, always clean stuff coming out here from the Artemis players. Not always clean stuff coming out from Mouse. That's why I'm so excited. I mean, Toli, I'm clearly eating what they're putting down.
Sure.
You are usually the voice of reason. How real does this team look right now?
Off of this one game, too hard to tell.
And I acknowledge that one game, one game is tough, and I'm not gonna, give them an award anytime soon. But off of this one game,
they can win the set. I'll be a little bit more of a believer, but it's only the end of the week 3, so still plenty of Smite action for this split. It's gonna be difficult to reach the Masters lane. If they can do it, then I'll definitely be a believer.
We gotta get Toli singing the Shrek song. He might be a believer. Let's get to the desk.
Couldn't leave her if I tried. Toli, I'm right there with you, buddy. Finch and Taco here on the desk, and wow. It's only one game, but Mousesports sure did look great. And Spudio, I mean, is he new to this roster? Are you sure? Can we check that? Because he certainly didn't look like he was. Looked very comfortable there in game 1. Mouse having a great game.
I think Jermaine definitely knew what he was doing when he chose to step down and let Spudio take over that position for him, because he has looked fantastic ever since he stepped in. He had some pretty big shoes to fill, and he's been doing an excellent job. If not, I would say he's already pretty much overcome every single one of the expectations that anybody could have laid out for him.
Seems like he met chat's expectations as well, Taco. He's selected as the MVP by everyone there in the Mixer chat. And again, thank you all for voting for us. Spudio having a great game on the Artemis. And Taco, we talked a little bit about this going in, that we wanted Ataraxia to draft some pressure here in this duo lane, but the ROM, I mean, that's not a ton of pressure in the duo lane. It's not easy for ROM to clear. It's not as if he punishes as well as some other gods. I mean, and Spudio had a game for himself.
Spudio got off to such a strong start here, though. I mean, from the get-go, it was clear that Mouse wanted to cater pretty heavily towards that dual lane side, just making sure to set this Artemis up time and time again for a lot of those early game picks. The crit RNG came through when he needed it most, more often than not, too. And all in all, it was just an excellent debut from that Artemis pick.
And I believe they first picked that one, too. They really wanted to make sure they had Spudio in a position where he was comfortable, and he earned it there in that first game. But Taco, I got to throw the brakes on. That's just one game. Mouse are kind of known to take him to 3 games. They're known to take a couple games off the top, but they have a hard time finishing it out and getting the whole set.
I still think that this isn't the greatest look, though, for Obey. I mean, this is a team where, even with Mouse having a roster swap and Spudio clearly taking a little bit of a better stance on that Hunter, I still feel as though Obey should technically be the team winning, but
I'm with you.
It doesn't really feel that way. Their compositions have just been so weird to me lately, and I think that was the big thing, is that Prime on the needs, we saw this last time, and you get over it. But Prime again on the needs, Xaliea throwing Terra into the solo lane, their composition just does not flow together.
It felt odd for the sake of odd almost, right? I mean, they've got the Terra and the Achilles. Why not just have Achilles solo and Terra support, right? They've got, why not just get a mage? There were tons of great mages still available, right? For PrettyPriMe to take, I believe Raijin, Giannis was still available, Agni. I mean, there was a lot of great options, and instead they go with this need. They don't get pressure over BigManTingz in the middle lane. A lot of things that maybe could have been better. But Pix and Ban